So I'm going to kind of peel this, kind of pull it apart, and you see if you can see the Dura Mater going down into the brain.
Liquids flying all over.
Sorry, it's just chemicals.
That's awesome.
Okay. You see that?
Thanks for taking that one.
This is Dura Mater. Okay, it goes up, it dives down into the center of that longitudinal fissure and then comes back up. This is Fox cerebri. Okay, so here is outside of Dura Mater. This is the part that dives down into that longitudinal fissure. That is Fox cerebri. Do you see Fox cerebri on Bridgehead Man over there? Right there. And this Dura Mater has actually been cut a little bit so you can see where those two, you have to get closer, okay? So you can see where those two layers of Dura Mater separate, and that is the superior sagittal sinus, that little tunnel right there. And if I hold it this way, you can actually kind of look down the tunnel.
So that's superior
sagittal sinus, which is the blue stripe at the top of Bridgehead Man's head.
Are those more sinus cavities going out too?
Yes. Remember
Okay.
I told you that the superior sagittal sinus is the only one you need to know, but there's lots of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there's lots of them. Spinal cord, to me, this is the scariest thing. I'm going to show you the whole semester. This is the whole spinal cord. You can see up at the superior part it's solid. Down at the inferior part it breaks up into the cauda equina. Do you get cauda equina now? Okay. I'm going to do this because I have to be really gentle, but I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to show you the cut end, and I want you to see if you can see the shape of that gray matter versus white matter. Okay?
Oh. Oh, cool. You can totally see it.
Wow, yeah.
It's like the butterfly.
It's the shape and everything.
Yeah. And that's how big it is. This runs your entire body. Like I said, to me, it's the scariest thing I'm ever going to show you, that something that small and delicate really runs your entire body.
And those are the little ganglia?
Now, these little threads that are coming off, oh, by the way, what I'm holding here, that's Dura Mater. Okay, Dura Mater around the spinal cord. These little thready bits that are coming off the spinal cord, those are spinal nerve roots. These are the ventral and dorsal spinal roots here. Do you see the little lumpy things on the outside of the Dura Mater? They are outside the spinal cord, which means they're in the peripheral nervous system. They are collections of neuron cell bodies. What are they?
What's your ganglion?
Ganglia is the third of three names.
Something horn ganglion.
No.
No.
Dorsal root ganglia. These are dorsal root ganglia.
So then where are the ganglia? The one that
The sympathetic? In actual space, they would be about where my probe is.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
they're not on the thing.
They're about an inch away, and they'd be about like there. Okay?
And the other ones are the dorsal root ganglia.
These are all dorsal root ganglia. Okay? Here is a hemisphere of the cerebellum. Do you see that arbor vitae shape? The tree of life shape right there?
Kind of pretty.
The coral.
Yeah, someone said it looked like coral. I agree, it does. Okay? So that is one half, that's a hemisphere of cerebellum. Now, this person died from a subdural hematoma. Sub, underneath, dural, Dura Mater.
Oh, you can totally
It's a big bruise. Okay? And what happens with a subdural hematoma is you have a broken blood vessel, either from an injury or just the blood vessel broke, and it bleeds out underneath the dura. And remember, this is surrounded by a skull, which doesn't move. So when you get more stuff here, like blood, it's got to push in the opposite direction. So the skull's here. If that's where the bleed is, what it's going to push down on is right here. And what's right there is that and that. So what's this? That's pons. What's this? Medulla oblongata. Both of them control respiratory. This one controls cardiovascular function, heart function. When you squeeze them, and they'd be squeezed right against the base of the skull, the occipital bone. When you squeeze them, they don't work. So that's how subdural hematoma kills you.
Would that happen with meningitis here too, like because it gets swollen up?
Well, yeah, meningitis is a swelling of the meninges. It's an infection in the CSF.
Mm-hmm.
The swelling squeezes on the spinal cord or on the brain, and that's why you get sick, and that's why it can kill you.
So this person got hit on the front, and it bled and put pressure on.
It was either a traumatic injury, or it could have just been a broken blood vessel. Okay. Blood vessels can break. Most likely this was traumatic injury.
Okay.
And when you bleed, there's no place for the blood to go because the skull is, doesn't move. So it's going to push down on the brain, and that.
So that's if you get a subdural hematoma anywhere, top of your head, occipital lobe,
Yeah,
anywhere.
that's right.
It's going to push down.
It's going to go down, yes.
You don't want to get hit in the brain.
How old was that person?
I cannot tell you.
Is that how big our brains are?
This is an adult brain.
Yeah, it looks smaller than that.
I feel like it's a child's brain.
It's absolutely not. This is an adult brain.
Is it shrunken down a little because it?
It might have shrunk maybe 5 or 10% from dehydration. But I'm guessing if we pull one of those models over here, it's going to be pretty close to the same size. Okay? This is not a child. This is an adult. You guys don't need to know
Can I get a look at the?
cranial nerves, so I won't bore you with them.
Oh, no.
Oh, bore you with them?
Please.
Okay, this is cranial nerve Roman numeral 1, the olfactory nerve. This big X here, that's the optic nerve. That's cranial nerve number 2.
I thought we did need to know those.
That's what I said. But then she said, "Oh, please."
We need to know
we
what they
do
are
need
and what
to
they
know
do,
that.
but we don't need to know where they are.
That's right. You don't need to know them for lab. So here is a section of cortex. It's a frontal cut. So this would be anatomic position. Do you see darker areas and lighter areas? The darker areas are gray matter. The gray matter around the outside, all of that, that's cerebral cortex. The gray matter deeper down, like this egg-shaped part and that egg-shaped part, that's not cerebral cortex. Those are other things. These happen to be the thalamus. White matter is myelinated axons. This piece right here is white matter that connects the right side of the brain with the left side of the brain. That would make these commissural fibers, and that particular structure is corpus callosum. I told you only needed to know corpus callosum from a mid-sagittal view. Okay. Corpus callosum. Okay. Here is another frontal cut. Let's see, this is the anterior side. Can you see this big lump right here and this big lump right here? Can you guess what those might be? Here's a hint. They are sort of surrounded and kind of covered by ventricles. So that's thalamus again. What would this light brownish stuff be right here? Cerebral cortex. You got to use 2 words or you're going to get it part wrong. What this white matter is what? That was a trick question.
White matter.
White matter.
The myelinated. I'm like the myelinated.
Okay. And you guys saw pia mater, and you can tell where pia mater is and where it isn't. Okay. Now, if I take a pin and I stick the pin right through here, when I stick that pin in, what is the first thing it's going to go through? Dura Mater. Okay? That'll be a test question. Okay? When I take pins and I stick them through, I very often say, what was the first thing that pin went through? Okay? And if I stick the pin here, it's Dura Mater. If I stick the pin right here, what is the first thing it went through?
Pia mater.
Pia mater. Good. So if you want to touch this stuff, you could put on gloves and do so. If you do, keep your fingers away until I leave. If you do, I want you to feel how tough this Dura Mater is. and I want you to be really gentle with the spinal cord. Okay? But
So-
otherwise, you're welcome to touch this.
For a lab exam, will you have this out?
No way. Yeah, I don't need that.
Or some of them.
Okay.
Or one of them.
Okay.
Or that and heart stuff.
Okay.
Okay? Or blood vessel stuff.